This episode is brought to you by Honda. When you test drive the new Prologue EV, there's a lot that could impress you about it. There's the class-leading passenger space, the clean, thoughtful design, and the intuitive technology. But out of everything, what you'll really love most is that it's a Honda. Visit honda.com/EV to see offers.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Well, he's completely forgotten all protocol. I have an observation to make about the National Football League.
All right, I'll be there.
I know you will. Well, it's not. It's 3:03. I do them when I'm told to do them. I have an observation to make about the National Football League.
Okay.
And this most principally comes from watching more of the Green Bay-Pittsburgh game than I ever imagined I would watch.
All right. It was an exciting contest by NFL standards.
Tackling is a lost art. That's my observation.
Well, a lot of people would agree with you and blame that on the fact that there's not nearly as much physical contact allowed in practices and in training camps.
These runners are squirming loose from tackles right and left. As violent as the game is, it struck me last night, they can't tackle.
Yeah, well, people have said that.
And Joe, to further your point, yesterday, because mostly if it doesn't involve the Vikings, I watch the NFL Red Zone, so we're flipping from game to game to game to game to game. It's great. There was a play in the Kansas City-Buffalo game yesterday near the end of regulation. Buffalo was clinging to a 6-point lead. The Kansas City player caught a pass, was headed, to save the clock, was trying to get out of bounds. The Buffalo safety went over the top of him, didn't even make contact with him, and was flagged for a 15-yard penalty because the referee thought it was a helmet-to-helmet contact.
Yes, that was brutal. I saw that, and I was just going to make that point. One problem, Joe, is for instance, if you want to hit the quarterback, you got to hit him above the knees.
Yep.
And below the breast.
That didn't happen last night.
You basically have to hit him in the navel.
Mm-hmm.
But running backs, any type of hit above the shoulders, they're going to call a 15-yard penalty. Sometimes even if you know what they're going to start teaching? They're going to start teaching guys to throw their heads back because the officials see that.
Yep.
And
like soccer,
they
flailing.
throw their head back. And people see that, and they throw the flag because they think it was helmet to helmet.
Who's the Green Bay quarterback?
Brett Hundley.
Well, he took a head-to-head from a Pittsburgh guy last night who did not get called for anything. He did not get called for it.
All right, I missed that one.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is they have shrunk the target area, not only for quarterbacks, but for everybody. Any kind of hit. And the other thing you can't do is what Joey Browner used to do.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out and grab him and throw him down.
With force, he would do that.
He would have never played in the NFL. He would have been banned from the NFL. The
that
horse
was his
collar.
bit. That was
the
his
horse
bit.
collar
I would
tackle.
ban players who use their helmets to go head-to-head. I would say you're done.
Sure.
You're done. You're done.
Yeah, well, they got it. The high schools in America, and I think the colleges to some extent, are trying to change tackling procedures to get the helmet and the head out of it and wrap guys up with the shoulder and and kind of pull them to the ground. And it's, it probably is 95% as successful as just going in and burying a guy. But if they want the boys, the suburban boys to keep playing football, they got to do something. So
I know it's sacrilegious to say on this side of the St. Croix River, but I was really rooting for Green Bay.
Not that it makes any difference.
doesn't.
They're dead. The Vikings are 1-9. They would have had. There still would have been 3 games behind them. So.
Right, but would have made the game. What? Don't they have a game at Green Bay?
Second to last week, I believe.
Would have been more interesting. The Saturday before Christmas.
Well, the
It's the
Green Bay,
23rd, yep.
Green Bay should tank. Green Bay hasn't had a real good draft choice, top 10 type draft choice in a long time. They should tank it right now and go for a top 5 or 6 because they need some help.
Well, there's speculation that Rodgers will play again this season, but
They
why
won't
risk it?
if they're out of the if
They're
they're
not in it. They can't
if
play.
they're
him.
6 and 8, they're not going to play him.
Right.
That'd be stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you since you took off for Wyomania.
Yes.
Who won that game?
We got beat by Fresno State. Our quarterback, who could be a first-round draft choice, Josh Allen, did not play. He got hurt the previous week. He did not play. And let's say it's a considerable step down to the backups.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably would have won the game with their quarterback. And then last week, they got beat by the worst team in the league. Without Josh Allen.
Well,
So
there goes
it was a
Wyoming.
disappointment. But the good news is it was 38 degrees, the sun was shining, and they kicked off at 2 o'clock.
So you were done at a reasonable time.
Because the last time I was out there, what we call the second to last ever time I was out there,
Right.
was we kicked off at 8:30
Not
in a
good.
snowstorm,
Not good.
15 degrees, and got beat 63-14 and had to sit there for the whole thing because Mr. Ringlesby won't allow us to leave.
Takes the fun out of it. Kind of
Yes.
takes a little bit of the sting.
Then you went to your winter estate.
We went to.
Why didn't you come home last night at midnight? Why didn't you prolong that?
Well, here's the problem.
Yeah.
I fly rookies. I fly this airline,
The hometown airline.
the hometown airline. I almost
way to
said
go
something.
there, Larry.
I almost said something.
Jeez.
Rookie's favorite airline.
Okay,
was,
we can
what
say-
was
we
I
can
going to
say
say?
that.
You
We
always
can say
fly
that.
Sun Country,
All
right?
right, we can say that.
And apparently, it was going to be much busier on Saturday and Sunday because the price structure was considerably higher than if you come back on Friday.
I see.
So I came back on Friday. Plus, I don't know what my complex's excuse is, but we got no heat in the pool. It's about 50 degrees.
Oh, wow, that's a shame.
Yes. I mean, I don't know. They're probably still blaming the hurricane. They blame it for everything.
Sure,
So you couldn't even go for a dip?
Well, you could, but it was like jumping. It's like a fundraiser when you jump through the.
Yeah.
It's like a fat weatherman jumping in the water and
With the polar plunge. It would have been the polar bear plunge.
Yeah, we got to get something straightened out here. So.
But you had Thanksgiving at your Florida estate.
Oh, and it was sumptuous. On Tuesday night, the bride and I went out to our favorite fish joint in Fort Myers. On Wednesday, we went to Skyline Chili.
Oh, boy.
And on Thursday, the bride said, I don't want to do anything, so I made some very fine ham and cheese grilled sandwiches
Oh,
for
you can't beat
there
that.
you
You got
go.
ham. You had a
Thanksgiving
ham.
dinner.
Right.
Yes, we had that. And
Because I admitted earlier today on the show that I think turkey's overrated. Just overrated.
I am not there
Tasteless
yet in
fowl.
my life.
Tasteless fowl. F-O-W.
I wouldn't say it's tasteless, but
overrated.
the rest, all the stuff that all you want's the middle part.
Yeah.
The legs and all
breast.
that other stuff is.
Thigh. I'm with you there.
I don't know. I do like where's the stuffing? Did that come in? Is that
We
been
had
in?
some logistical issues that
Okay.
so we didn't the stuffing
So
didn't make it
everybody
over.
ate it all. huh?
But it was a big hit. I thought it was a little runny to tell you the truth, but we just needed more breadcrumbs.
Your Vikings won Thursday.
I watched that,
Yep.
but I gotta say, I didn't know until I looked at the scores this morning who won the other two Thursday games because I had no interest.
Right.
But I watched the Vikings, and they once again looked very impressive until they let Detroit back in the game, but they were much the better team. So, and the quarterback looked great.
And then Detroit blows it on a penalty at the end. So,
Well, but we, of course, we're going to have to talk about it when we come back, but we introduced you to a new favorite brand of football last night.
oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I watched every second of it. All right, just a moment.
So I'm a Canadian Football League fan, and I turned on the Grey Cup yesterday at 5.
Is that their Super Bowl?
Yep, that's it. 105th, by the
Yeah,
way. The
yeah.
105th Grey Cup. And I turned on the TV at 5:10, and it's snowing like hell. And I text my guy Joe and say, if you want football in the snow, turn to ESPN2 for the Grey Cup.
Yep.
Then
That's all he needs to hear.
he calls me back and says it's not snowing. But you must have been watching a replay or something because I said, hang in there. It's snowing. And it was a pretty damn good snow the first half. It kind of lessened up the second half.
Yeah.
But Mark Trestman, you remember him. Mark
Sure,
Trestman.
I covered him.
Back up for Tony Dungy
Right.
at the U. Went to Morehead State and for his last year was in training camp with the Vikings. And he was up there with Montreal for 5 years, won 2 Grey Cups, then got hired by the Bears, only lasted 2 years in the NFL, kicked around, got fired as the offensive coordinator by the Baltimore Ravens, didn't get hired until February, and the hell of a season starts up there in March, and he ends up winning another Grey Cup with the Toronto Argonauts, so congratulations to him.
Played in Ottawa.
Played in Ottawa. They pick a site. It's
Yeah.
not like they're going to the place. So last year they played in Toronto. It was frosty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last night they had the snow, but it looked like it might have been 20 or so.
Right.
They last year I think it was like 0.
Kenny, Shania Twain was the halftime entertainment. Guess how they brought her out?
Shut up. I've been waiting for Royce to take a breath for the last 8 minutes.
30 minutes.
So I could tell you that Shania Twain is from Canada and they brought her out on a dog sled.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
been so
she
funny.
we get the Rolling Stones at the Super Bowl
Yeah.
and give them 3 songs.
Right.
Shania did a concert.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
she was about 40 minutes. Break it up, Shania. Let's go. It's halftime.
I'm stunned that I'm this old and just this morning I heard about the Grey Cup for the first time in my life.
Well, it's 100. Okay, I got to give you guys this.
I can name all the teams in the CFL.
Really?
BC Lions,
Yes.
Edmonton Eskimos, Calgary Stampeders, Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Toronto Argonauts, Montreal Alouettes, and Hans helped me fill in the last one. Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Oh, hats off, Suchi boy.
Okay, I got to find this last thing that somebody
Who are
sent
they,
me.
Pat? NFL rejects?
Yeah,
Yeah,
guys that didn't even try the NFL.
And how big is it? I mean, how many people were there last night? I mean, you know.
Well, it's Ottawa built this new stadium for the Red Blacks, and
Are they in the
there's-
league?
Yeah, they won it last
Well, I
year.
didn't have that team.
They won it last year.
They're called the Red Blacks?
It used to be the Rough Riders. They dropped football, and now when they came back,
Well, I missed
They,
that team, too.
My mama said, quit naming CFL teams.
I used to be able to name every CFL team. The Red
Damn
Blacks
it.
and the White Blues.
damn it, what'd I do with this?
What are you
little
looking
note?
for?
Here it is, right
It's
here.
in my ads folder.
Okay,
Where's my folder?
the Canadian sporting press, unlike all the ass-kissing lapdog jackasses we now have in
sore spots.
we now have in Minnesota
Yes.
Wow.
and other places.
But mostly
Still
here.
has a bunch of pranksters, right? So every year at the Grey Cup, the day before press conference with the 2 coaches, they had a guy named Jim Shaky Hunt, a local reporter up there, because Shaky, I think, like his
Every
cocktails.
Canadian has the nickname Shaky.
Shaky.
That's awesome.
Shaky Walton,
Every
Shaky
year-
Hunt, Shaky Neil Young.
Every year,
Neil Young's name was Shaky.
Shaky Shania Twain.
Yeah.
every year he would ask the coaches if the players were going to be allowed to have sex the night before the game.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Okay, that became a tradition.
I'd like to see Bill Belichick ask that question.
That became a tradition.
Players have
Apparently,
sex all the time.
They all waited. They all waited for Shaky to ask the
got
question,
hookers for
and
it.
then Shaky died.
Oh, no. We
So now they have the
Oh, no.
Jim Shaky Hunt Memorial Sex Question that is asked by my friend Terry Jones, Big Terry Jones from the Edmonton Journal, and he's been at it forever.
Big Terry.
And Big Terry's big.
Not shaky,
And
Terry.
they just put out a special. They also properly honor their sports writers. They're celebrating his 50th anniversary. They put out a special section in the newspaper.
Really?
But
they don't
anyway,
do that here.
No.
so Trestman had been there previously for Grey Cups, right? So Jonesy asked Trestman if his philosophy had changed since returning from the NFL, and he claimed that there had been no adjustments dealing with millennial players and having sex before the game. The other coach, Dickinson, said, Dave Dickinson was the coach of Calgary. He said, well, you asked me if it has changed or not, so I'm just going to say it hasn't changed, Trestman said. Then Dickinson said, well, since we've both answered the question through the years, maybe I could ask you media guys if you are okay with having sex during the week of the Grey Cup. You have a job to do as do our players. And Jonesy writes, as past president of the Football Reporters of Canada, we leave it up to each individual reporter, but there have been no recorded cases of it ever happening.
Oh, fantastic.
They got a sense of humor up in Canada. Oh, we love our team. Elite. Roll the boat.
Oh, I think we're going to have to get into this whole Turkey of the Year thing after the break.
Mr. Roll the Boat was defeated 70-0 over the last 2 games.
He could have made more yardage if they had been rowing a boat against.
And to quote Harrigan, his quarterback jumped ship.
Immediately.
He wants off the boat.
Yeah, I want off the
He's
boat.
swimming to shore.
Right. So this is the first time that the Gophers have been shut out in back-to-back games since 1950.
Really?
To put that in perspective, I was 5.
Wow.
I was a month after my 5th birthday.
What did you say,
And Sid was 30. Sid was 30 the last time he saw somebody get shut out back-to-back as a Gopher coach. And you know who the coach was? Bernie Bierman, 5 national championships, and they fired his ass at the end of the year.
Wow.
He was 1-8. We had some standards back then. We fired him, and he'd won 5 national champions. The Gray
You
Eagle.
briefly want to tell us...
What did we do here? We gave him a contract extension.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
You briefly want to tell us, because you mentioned Sid, why you named yourself Turkey of the Year.
I have been contemplating, for this very reason that I expressed, for several years, the fact that I've lost the war with Sydney.
Every time.
Because everybody's turned into a home. Every stadium,
Absolutely.
every I have lost the war. I have fought it longer than you have. You went to the city side.
Yeah.
You fought a little bit, but I was contemplating this. And then let's face
Fought
it.
a little bit. It cost me a job.
Yeah. Let's face it. 10 years ago, when the Twins came over to our side,
Oh, boy.
Sid basically started threatening the Twins with extinction.
Right.
Yeah.
They would never
On the wrong
sell a
radio
ticket.
station.
And someday they would come back. Someday, and I heard him tell Dave St. Peter this 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say what clinched it was when they announced last week or 2 weeks ago that they were going back to the big neighbor. I said, okay, if I'm ever going to do this, now's the time to do it.
Well, hats off for you for all these years for not playing the game, for not kissing the ass, for bitching behind the scenes and not kissing the ass in public.
Yep.
You're one of the few.
Yeah, and what's it get him?
You still lost, though. You still lost.
Turkey.
You still
lost.
But it did give us.
You are a huge loser, Patrick.
I want to tell you how Sid's changed. And
Well,
we gotta
hurry
go.
up. All right,
we
Nick.
got to go.
All right, we'll be back shortly, but now thanks to our friends.
That's a cliffhanger.
Right now.
It's a
now.
cliffhanger.
Jeez. Well, you left us on the edge of a cliff
I got to
here.
tell you this. 1950.
Yeah.
The Gophers got shut out back-to-back. I think they got shut out 3 times that season. Bernie Bierman goes 1-8. He'd won 5 national championships before World War II, and then he went in the service. And when he came out, he was okay. But Sid and the boys downtown, young Sid, got together and fired Bernie, and they ran out Bernie.
Right.
1950. This is where the response to the Gophers getting shut out back-to-back, okay?
Yep.
And they thought they were going to be able to hire Bud Wilkinson away from Oklahoma because he played for the Gophers, and they did not.
So the early Sid rules bring everybody back.
So they got, but Bud Wilkinson won
another
like
deal.
50 in a row in Oklahoma, right? But they hired a guy named Wes Fessler, and he was a load, and it didn't work. But this time they get shut out for the second time in a row, and Sid comes into the office and says, I'm not going to write about the Gophers. His theory now is, if it's bad, I'm not going to write about it. That's what we've become in these 60 7 years of.
In fact, didn't you address that in a tweet when Coach PJ Fleck had asked, where is Sid?
Sid, I got news for you. I was in the office and Sid was there in the middle of the fourth quarter. He bailed on you, PJ. He even got sick of your crap.
That was a Freudian slip that you were going to call him P.T. Barnum, the circus.
Right.
Here's John Haidt in the newsroom.
Thanks, Joe. Partly cloudy and 60 degrees. Speaking of PJ, his quarterback, Emery Croft, is leaving the Gophers.
He jumped ship, John.
Yeah.
He's swimming ashore.
Croft asked Coach PJ Fleck for his release after Saturday's loss
You know what
against
he
Wisconsin.
did? He set down his oar.
His boat
handed
tipped
it in.
in the middle of Mille Lacs and he swam for shore.
Croft started the final 6 games this season. He has 2 years of eligibility remaining. Could transfer to another school.
They have some discipline problems with him or something. Something go wrong.
I believe he might have liked a relaxing smoke from the rumors. They
liked the
suspended him
reefer.
for 2 games.
Like, what is it? Lucky Strike? Means fine tobacco?
Could have been.
No.
Timberwolves beat Phoenix yesterday, and they've got a busy week. 4 games in 6 days.
Really?
Starts tomorrow night. Washington in town for a game at
I
the
believe
Target
John
Center.
Wall is hurt, is he not? I think
he?
John Wall is
What's
out
their name
for
now? The Wizards?
Wizards, yeah.
They were the Bullets.
Had to get rid of the Bullets. It was not politically proper.
Sensitive.
Wild in action tonight. They're on the road.
That's
at
the
Winnipeg.
reason? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
News notes from today. Former Minnesota
What
attorney.
about Redskins?
Yeah, well, we still got that
Indians.
one. We don't care about that.
Jeez, amazing.
Former
Yeah, what the hell? We got a president out there who's talking about Pocahontas, so we can stick with the Redskins.
I got more on that coming
Yeah.
up.
Good. I want to hear that.
Former Minnesota Attorney General and gubernatorial candidate Warren Spanis has died. He was
Oh,
man.
he was a great guy.
Great,
God, he was
great
a
guy.
great
He did a lot of favors for me.
He was 86 years old, elected Attorney General 3 times, serving from 1971 to 83. He did run for governor in 1982, got the DFL party endorsement, but lost to Governor Rudy Perpich. In 1975, Spanis helped pass the state's landmark Gun Control Act with waiting periods and background checks. Gun control advocates then made him a target. They created bumper stickers with the slogan "Dump Spanis" when he ran for governor and made him a target, circulating pictures of his face behind a bullseye.
Wow.
After losing the gubernatorial race, Spanis never held.
He helped me
elected
get a
office
guy a
again.
pardon. That's how I got into the newspaper business.
Really? Well, he goes back to the time when the Republicans and Democrats could drink together at the Lexington.
Right.
and get something.
Right. And get something done.
Yes, right.
Residents along the shore of Upper Red Lake in Beltrami County are being asked to check their property for signs of 2 individuals who were last believed to have been fishing on the lake. Beltrami County Sheriff's Department says the individuals are a 29-year-old male and a 30-year-old female. We're also operating a Polaris Sportsman 500 camo SUV. The department is also warning residents in the area not to venture on the ice to help with the search as conditions are not safe.
I was on
So we think they went through, or what?
I was on a lake over the weekend that had at least 6 inches on it.
Really?
Couldn't believe it.
Where? Anchorage, Alaska?
Just north, in the Aiken area. In Aiken.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say just north of none of your business.
Well,
tonight.
yeah, I was going to give it away, and then I realized it's nobody's
Ice
business.
fishing?
No, I was just visiting a friend.
Oh.
Any other personal?
Cedar Lake?
No.
Not Cedar. Okay.
Get your hand on a drumstick this Thursday.
Wow. All right, then.
If I had a dime for every time I heard that this week. And then the uncomfortable laugh.
That was weird.
Nut.
Sorry. Okay, John.
President Trump is raising some eyebrows today.
I'll say.
Doesn't he?
He referred to Senator Elizabeth Warren as Pocahontas at an event honoring Native American code talkers who served in World War II.
Oh my God.
Trump
God, he's wonderful.
There's just no filter at all.
Nuts.
said, "You were here long before any of us were here, although we do have a representative in Congress who they say was here a long time ago. They call her Pocahontas." Then he turned,
That's it. This is fake news. I'm never listening again.
he then turned to the veterans and said, "But you know what? I like you. President made the remark in the Oval Office standing beside 3 Navajos who helped the U.S. Marine Corps develop a secret code during World War II. He, of course, has repeatedly used that nickname to refer to Warren, poking fun at her claim of Native American heritage. It came off as a joke. The 3 code talkers, though, did not react, and nobody in the room laughed. The president then also referred to White House Chief of Staff John Kelly as Chief. He's like the general and the chief, Trump said during the event.
He played golf with
Tiger. Jack likes him. Tiger
Dustin,
the day before.
and Brad Faxon.
Yes.
We don't get a score, though. We don't know what the score is.
Well, but I did read that Dustin and Tiger played from 7,500.
I read that, too.
And Faxon and Trump played from 6,500, and they played baseball.
Yeah.
Because you're very, very special people. You were here long before any of us were here. Although we have a representative in Congress who they say was here a long time ago. They call her Pocahontas. But you know what? I like you.
I like you.
You know, you could hear the pause where the thought occurred to him.
Maybe not.
Heard the pause.
Maybe not.
Yeah. All
And
he
then
had
he said,
to do.
"Ah, the hell."
All he had to do was put the brakes on right there.
And you
The
know,
fail-safe wasn't working up here.
But you know what? He doesn't change one mind when he does that.
No.
He doesn't, because the trumpeters are still going to love him, and the others are going to still going to hate him.
But it's like he has the option of not driving off the cliff.
Yes, right.
But instead of tapping the brakes or rolling, he floors it and just flies off the cliff.
That was, you're right, Kenny. That was to hell with it.
Yeah.
What do I care?
I came in with Pocahontas on my mind. I'm using it.
Yes, right.
Or it's like one of his staff members just holds up an index card that says, you need to read Pocahontas. You need to mention Pocahontas during this
I'm
interview.
sure that he has 8 people tell him, don't say anything about Pocahontas today, okay?
Yeah.
But he can't
And
resist.
then you picture that guy just throwing up papers in the air like, oh my God.
He can't
You know,
resist.
he'd be a really good traffic reporter, now that I think about it. He'll say anything.
Yeah, right. He'll get through that minute.
A bad story around Christmas time, or any time really. A Norwegian reindeer herder says that freight trains have killed more than 100 of the animals on the tracks in the past 3 days.
I hope Santa's got his
I believe that's true.
steeds ready.
Torstein Optfjell, a distraught reindeer herder in Helgeland County, said that the worst incident happened Saturday when 65 animals were mowed down.
What are they doing out there?
Is it heavy snow so they find relief on the tracks or what?
I bet that's it, Ken.
In the they're saying Optfjell is saying the trains are also going too fast. They should slow down. He told me
It's not like they
How
can
about the
swerve.
moose? Are they killing the moose, too?
nothing about moose in the story, just reindeer.
That's my favorite Lillehammer story, was that the story about the new train tracks that they put up there to the mountain for the Olympics were killing the elk.
Yep.
And I find out the elk are the moose.
Right.
And it says to prevent the moose from going out of the train tracks, they were spreading wolf urine
Yep.
on the tracks.
Yeah,
to keep
there you
them.
go.
That's
To
good.
which the elves all
And my friend Bob Ford from Philadelphia called the DNR there in Norway somehow to say, where do you get the wolf urine? And the guy says,
From wolf?
from the wolves.
Yeah, wolves.
From the wolves.
So we imagined a wolf beer party.
Oh, yeah.
hey,
Just go right into this bucket.
Gotta go again.
Finnish bakery and food service company Fazir launched last week what it said was the world's first insect-based bread to be offered to consumers in stores. The bread is made from flour ground from dried crickets, as well as wheat flour and seeds. The good thing about this, it contains a lot more protein than normal wheat bread.
I'll take the wheat bread.
Is there a real need for this, John? Is there really
Each
a big
loaf,
need for this?
each loaf contains about 70 crickets. Costs $4.72.
This is in Finland?
That's correct.
Where was the concessionaire that was it baseball this summer that was selling out of
Oh, Washington, D.C.
fried crickets?
Yep.
Fried crickets, yeah.
Gnats.
Where's the FDA on that? Are they monitoring the situation? Is this guy just going out to a field with a net?
Well, actually, in November, Finland joined 5 other European countries, Kenny, in allowing insects to be raised and marketed.
You've never had a cricket, Kenny?
No. Not on purpose.
Either have I.
I've never seen one where I said, boy, that looks tasty.
You ever get hit by one in the chest when you're on your motorbike?
Yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah.
You were in the Texas ballpark back when they used to.
They would attack.
They jump
Like
up
locusts?
from second base and bang into the window, and they were like lobsters.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good
They were
description.
jumping, leaping 2-pound crickets. They go bang.
What
right
were the
in
bugs in Cleveland that were those
I
mayflies?
think those are
Yeah,
mayflies.
when the
Mayflies,
mayflies had come out. Yeah.
An Arkansas couple who once ate at Olive Garden every day for 7 weeks was naming their first child due in December, Olivia Garton. Justin and
She's going to end up being a stripper.
Justin and Jordan Garton of Fort Smith are Arkansas natives who grew up going to the Olive Garden.
Isn't the Olive Garden known for its large portions? Isn't that part
Yeah,
of it?
endless breadsticks and salads.
So in other words, these are too hefty.
Never
folks.
been stumped.
No,
What do you need to
I
know?
saw
Never
a
been
picture.
stumped.
They were
On food.
normal size.
Were they big gals?
No, it's two. It's
a couple,
It's a
Joe.
couple, a man and a woman.
Yeah, but that could be LGBTQRP.
That's a good point.
No, I saw a picture. It's a man and a woman. Yeah, they're both normal size. They just love Italian food, they said. And growing up in Arkansas, that's pretty much one of the only Italian
Then why don't they
places
go to
you
an
get
Italian
go.
restaurant?
The Maplewood location's got a really killer bar.
Do they?
Olive Garden.
Yeah. You
It
know
looks
what?
just like the one in Bloomington. I don't know how they do it. Yeah,
Or salad bar.
yeah, the regular alcohol bar.
What about
Johnny,
the one in Manhattan?
Same. Looks exactly like the one in Bloomington.
You're like my old man travels the country eating Perkins every stop.
Hey, Johnny.
Yes.
Now, when you see copy with LBGT,
Yeah.
do we now add the Q?
Pat.
Oh,
It came up on the
it's
show
worse than
today.
that, Pat.
It
I've been
came up on
making
the
it up
show.
all my life, adding these initials. Canadian Federation of Teachers. It's now LGGBDTTTIQQQAAPP.
They're just having fun.
Nope.
They're just
They
joking.
named
around.
everyone. We went through and they named what everyone is.
I identify as the second Q.
That said, the first Q is questioning, right? You're
Questioning
not sure?
and queer are the two Qs.
The D is demisexual, like half.
Yeah.
What if you're just a dumb old white guy out in the garage pounding on some steel or fixing a motor? Or what do you?
You're
just a dumb white guy. DWG.
There was one that had dummy in it. Remember that we thought
Demi.
that was
Demi.
That was Demi.
dummy sexual.
Yeah.
And then we thought the pansexual,
dum-dum.
the pansexual is probably a good cook.
PJ
food
Fleck
special.
could come up with an acronym.
Oh, yeah.
He could come up for an acronym for all of this.
I think he eats those letters for breakfast.
Yes, he does.
Forget about meat. I love yogurt.
I thought that was a pretty good
That
line.
was pretty good.
A homeless veteran who's received hundreds of thousands of dollars after he gave a 27-year-old woman his last $20 for gas has revealed he plans to pay those donations forward. Marine Corps vet Johnny Bobbitt said he's been overwhelmed by the generosity of strangers after Kate McClure's fundraising campaign smashed its initial $10,000 target. Donations currently stand at $360,000.
What the hell?
Okay, what was the story, John? What did he do?
She ran out of gas,
Right.
and he had $20 on him, and he's homeless.
Yep.
He walked out of the dark, basically, and gave her the $20 and said, "You sit in the car, I'll go get gas."
Well, wouldn't she have had a credit card or whatever?
She didn't have anything. She called her boyfriend already to come and help her.
Oh.
You know what? You're right. This story needs a good reporter because I'm not believing this. I think the
by the
homeless
way,
guy,
such cynics,
the
man.
homeless guy is in cahoots with the lady, and they're splitting up this $300K.
Hey, is this Bobbitt guy any relation to the guy who got his Peter cut off?
John Wayne.
By the way, by Lorena Bobbitt.
That's not in the story.
Thrown in the
Oddly enough,
They sewed that little guy back
They
together.
ever find it in the ditch?
Yeah, they sewed it back together.
Hooked it back up.
It was a little
Just like-
lopsided. They had it turned the wrong way.
yeah, he
Similar
tried.
to Sam Smithson when he went through
Got
the
it cut off in a
snowblower.
snowblower.
Yeah.
It's got a weird twist to
It's
it.
out there. It's like looking for the Winter Carnival medallion.
He was.
When they were putting it back on, they could have put a little extender in there. Don't you think?
Wow.
Well, do you remember he was involved in a couple films? Shall we say?
Yeah.
Who?
After they reattached
John Wade Bob.
Really?
Surgical
The
films?
porn
or-
industry
Well, not
has
surgical.
that low of scruples that they'd put a guy with
This was before the internet, Pat.
Yeah,
They were looking for anything.
anything. To
How
do
was the
with
flick? Did anybody see it?
Did she
Yeah, it
take
was
it
awful.
and drive around and throw it out the window?
No, if I remember right, this was done in their bed, right?
Yeah, she right there.
Yeah, but then she hurled it out on the street or
I
something.
thought she
didn't
drove away and threw it out the
A
window.
dog picked it up, walked down the block with it, buried it in the backyard.
Over the course of the Thanksgiving weekend, we played a game family called Taboo.
Yeah.
And Gabe and I were taking
God, I'm
turns
glad
here.
I'm not in your family.
And in this card,
having to play games.
I hate games.
I hate
My whole
games. I
family
hate
plays them. Drives me
God
crazy.
almighty. Trivial Pursuit is the worst thing ever happened to this country.
orange.
No, it's not orange. No.
Well, this one was worse than that because Lorena Bobbitt was the subject.
Oh, no.
And I skipped that card because I was not going to ask Gabe questions. My wife's, why did you skip that card? You're fighting.
Yeah.
And I showed her Lorena Bob, and she said, yeah, there's no way we could explain this to him.
So-
why
I
she's
would have done
famous.
it. I would have asked the
Knows
question.
about God.
So you didn't tell Pat, so this was better than last year's game where you had to do shots of Fireball, and then when you had to respond to the wife doing dishes at the end of the night, what happened?
Won't you even just talk to me? I looked her in the eyes, cross-eyed, and went, I was so sad. I was so
You were
out
smart.
of it.
You were smart.
But how can your mouth not form the word no? I shook my head. I copped out. Please, can't you even just say one word to me? It was kind of a drunk, it wasn't just a no.
You're going to have to talk about that on the Family Podcast.
Family Podcast episode 6 is out there. It's on Apple iTunes, the Family Podcast. Listen to the most messed up family on Apple iTunes.
Episode 6, Daddy Does Fireball.
I did tell that story, yes.
One other homeless man story. This homeless guy, not as nice, shall we say. A homeless man in New Mexico managed to get himself locked inside a Walmart, is now accused of consuming and damaging merchandise.
Good.
37-year-old George Sukow hid in a bathroom till employees left and locked up the store. He spent the night eating chocolate and drinking soda, then opened a pack of adult diapers, put one on. He then headed to the baby supply aisle where he opened baby diapers, baby wipes, a pacifier, and a bottle.
Oh, this guy's got a thing.
I think there might be some mental issues here, Johnny.
His movement triggered an alarm. He was found in the store's bathroom. He was charged with commercial burglary, accused of damaging $156.
Never
in
mind that.
merchandise.
Everybody wants to know if he used the diaper.
Yes,
did he use the diaper?
That's not part of the story. I'm sorry. No report.
That's kind of
Reporting isn't what it used to be.
really
That kind of seems to be the point of the whole episode.
I would think so.
In other words, he intentionally remained in the locked up Walmart.
There you go.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, intentionally.
Well, the hell with him. I got to find this button. Here we go.
You know what our motto is on the Ride with Ricey? We don't talk sports, we teach sports. And boy, I got a lot of good historical stuff. I found out under the surface. I found out more stuff under the surface
About
on
what?
various topics. The various topics that we're going to address. And then as I look into them further, I come up with connections.
Really?
That
Like the
surprised
back-to-back
even me.
shutouts that date
that
back to
thing,
1950.
I went through every Gopher schedule going back to 1950 to make sure it was accurate. I'd heard that, but I didn't trust it.
Did they have bowl games in 1950?
Not enough to matter.
Did
They
they
had
have
the
a
Rose
Rose Bowl?
Bowl. Yeah, 1949 they almost went, and then 1950. But they did not. The Big Ten could not go to any Rose Bowl any bowl game other than the Rose Bowl until sometimes later in the 60s. So.
Well, they went in the early 60s. They went in 60.
No. I'm saying you couldn't if you finished second.
1500 ESPN is KSTP, St. Paul, Minneapolis. The Ride with Royce is next.